All right, what's up, guys? I'm Jonathan White. I'm here to help you master your sexual energy so you can magnetize your ideal life. Thank you for joining me today. What is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Sexual Mastery. Today, I'm going to be talking about semen retention and how it increases attraction in men. There's actually some scientific validation to this, and I will be getting into that. So let's see some updates. Happy New Year, everyone. First of all, welcome to 2020. The holidays are over, all the chaos, and it's time to basically get to work. Like, what are you trying to accomplish this year? What are your goals? It's time to make it happen. So yeah, I hope this is going to be a great year for everyone. I've got some big things in mind for this year, and yeah. So getting into the topic, so semen retention increases attraction in men. So this is kind of a phenomenon. A lot of people in the no-fap community, the semen retention community, talk about this a lot. But I've actually found some what I think is scientific validation to this, and I'm going to get into that. So first of all, a lot of guys think that we grow up just assuming that ejaculating every time you have sex is normal and it doesn't have any long-term consequences. And many men in our teenage years, in our 20s, we go happily ejaculating every day, just spilling all this energy out without really thinking twice about it. But what you often find is that it's not a bottomless well, and eventually this energy, this reservoir, starts to dry up. A lot of guys in their late 20s or early 20s now are having sexual dysfunctions, erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, all these sexual issues because they're literally uprooting their energy, their core vitality by ejaculating frequently. In Chinese medicine, excuse me, the kidneys are responsible for our sexual energy, and they also produce all of the fluids, all the hormones in the body. The kidney system includes the genitals, includes the bladder, the bones, actually, the bone marrow, the blood, all the fluids in the body. And this is really it's our core essence, our jing, as it's called in Chinese medicine, jing, J-I-N-G, which is physical essence. And this is what you're losing every time you ejaculate, is your jing. So first of all, by constantly ejaculating, you're disrupting the supply of energy. So you're running in depletion mode. The body, after you ejaculate, it goes into recovery mode. Certain hormonal changes happen in the body. And a study found that the androgen receptors in the body actually shut down when you're constantly ejaculating. What this means is that the androgen receptors bind to androgen, so like testosterone, different hormones. So these things are no longer active in the body, basically. And what this also means is that the body's not able to focus on like cellular repair, rebuilding itself. Basically, it has to focus on creating more semen, so that your immune system is compromised. Your ability to repair the body is compromised when you're frequently ejaculating, and so it puts you in the state of depletion, basically. And so how does this relate to attraction? Well, what's more attractive, a man who is, in depletion, a man who's addicted to porn, constantly draining his energy, depleting his energy, or a man who's has a strong charge of sexual energy, a man who's overflowing with sexual energy and just radiating this energy, a man who's full or a man who's empty, basically, which is more attractive. But on a more scientific note, let's talk about the role of testosterone and pheromones in practicing semen retention. So there was a study in China that was done actually quite a while ago. I posted a link to the study on one of my YouTube videos. I think it was about how semen retention increases testosterone. So basically the study took, it was like 20-something men, group of men, and they were from ages like 18 to like in their 50s or 60s, I believe. So half the men ejaculated every day as normal. The other half of the men in the study, they went a period of time without ejaculating. I think it was like 8 days or something like that. And what they found, they were doing like blood tests on these guys' testosterone levels, or all their levels of hormones and everything in the blood. And on day 7, all of the guys who were practicing semen retention had this huge peak in the testosterone levels, up about an average of 150%, and so basically the study shows that on day 7, your testosterone peaks about 150% when you're retaining semen. So there's kind of this cycle in a man's hormone levels, basically. And another thing is that when you're ejaculating, you lose zinc. You lose quite a bit of zinc in ejaculation. And zinc is a very important mineral for hormonal production for men. And when you're constantly ejaculating, often the body can't get enough zinc because it's not the easiest mineral for the body to absorb. And even more, the older you become, the harder it becomes for your body to absorb zinc. So I think this is why as men age, they have a harder time recovering from ejaculation. So, and zinc is also related to your testosterone levels. Low zinc manifests in brain fog, depression, graying of the hair, even hair loss, all kinds of things. And these are typically the things men feel after ejaculating. So low testosterone levels are usually not conducive to attracting women if you're a man, because without testosterone, you don't have that young masculine charge. You don't have that energy and that confidence with you. When you're in a state of low hormonal imbalance, you just don't have that drive and that motivation. And another thing, and this is very significant as well, when the body ejaculates, it secretes prolactin. Prolactin is a hormone. It's one of the hormones responsible for women, in women, the production of breast milk. And so the body secretes this after ejaculation, which causes you to feel that sort of tiredness, that fatigue, that loss of desire. And it's almost like this opiated out state. You're just kind of like, bleh, I don't feel like doing anything. I lost my motivation. I don't even feel that connected to my partner. I kind of just want to go to sleep. So your prolactin levels spike, and they stay fairly high for throughout the next day as well after an ejaculation. So that's why you have this sort of post ejaculation hangover, so to speak, because your prolactin levels are elevated, your testosterone's low. So this is not a very conducive state to attracting people. Low testosterone, high prolactin. So you're in this kind of apathetic state, and you're not going to be very attractive to the opposite sex when you're not in that state of like young masculine, I'm gonna get stuff done. No, you're kind of lazy and apathetic. So this is what happens when men chronically ejaculate. Ross says, curiously, low zinc levels also lead to toe jam and smelly feet, a definite turnoff for attracting sex partners. Yeah, so there you go. Thanks, Ross. Yeah, and beyond this, our sexual energy, it's our magnetism, it's our influence. When a man builds up his yang charge, he becomes more polarized, he becomes more masculine, and that's going to attract the opposite polarity, the feminine. And so you become more attractive when you're practicing semen retention. And so many men are experiencing this. I experienced this myself. I've talked about a lot that I used to be I lacked confidence. I had a hard time with the opposite sex. Basically, I was very shy around women. I could never talk to them if I was attracted to them. And when I started practicing semen retention, though, that completely shifted. All of a sudden I had all this confidence, all this drive, and just this feeling of I'm a man. And more than that, women started approaching me. So it was just this complete shift. It's like there's this unconscious connection that happens. People just can detect when you're radiating this sexual energy. It's just they can feel it. It's in your aura. It's in your energy field. And so it changes, when you're abundant in sexual energy versus when you're depleted, from constantly ejaculating. So, and more than this, typically when you're low in zinc, when you're constantly ejaculating, you're wasting all these bodily resources because it takes so many resources for the body to produce semen. It's like the most refined substance the body makes. It's got all these minerals, all these vitamins, all these enzymes. The body puts a lot of energy into producing semen. And when you're just ejecting it out, the body's working overtime to try to replace these things. And it's going to pull from your hair, pull from the spinal fluid, from the brain, from the organs. And so when you're constantly ejaculating, usually your skin doesn't look as healthy. You can start balding, all these things. And so, unconsciously, we often, or subconsciously, we're usually attracted to someone with healthy skin, with healthy hair, because it's really the body saying hey, I'm abundant, in my resources. I've got this sexual vitality and I'm sexy, I'm juicy, so be attracted to me. So it's kind of this subconscious communication between our bodies. And so practicing semen retention really helps you to build up this energy and look healthy, feel confident, feel driven, and have the strong yang charge to attract others. So in a nutshell, semen retention really increases your confidence and your attraction your ability to attract others and just be more influential in general. And so, and if you don't believe me, try it yourself. You may be surprised by the changes that you find. And so there's some questions. I'm going to answer some questions now. Oops. Okay. So I want to know how to arouse yourself without porn to self-cultivate. Yeah, so most guys are so overstimulated, that they rely on like porn and things like that to get aroused, and they can't feel arousal without porn because your nervous system's so out of whack from all this overstimulation. There's something called porn-induced erectile dysfunction. I've had friends who suffered from this. Basically, it's like you're so used to getting your sexual stimulation from watching porn, which is completely overstimulating, wreaks havoc on your dopamine levels in your brain, and not to mention other things, that when you're in a real life sexual situation, it's not as overstimulating as all the porn you've been watching. So the body is unable to respond in a normal sexual way. So basically you have to sort of rewire yourself. I get into this in my course, Multi-Orgasmic Man, but basically, you have to learn to just explore sensations, physical sensations, get back in your body. When you're just watching porn and using that external stimulus completely, you're all up in your head. Your energy's out of your body. So it's about getting connected back into your body, learning to feel sensations that are happening, and connect with your natural state of arousal. How long does it take to build your sexual energy? That's there's so many factors, because when you practice retention, you're building tremendous sexual energy, but it depends how depleted you are, what your history's like. Have you been like taking, all kinds of drugs, and have you been eating very unhealthily, things like that. So if you have these poor patterns of depletion, then it's going to take you longer to build your energy back up, to build your sexual energy back up. So there's so many factors to it that I can't really give like a straight answer, but there's practices you can do to build your sexual energy. When you're exercising, doing qigong, doing breath work, meditating, having stillness in your life, having calm time, not being stressed out, eating the right foods, then you will build your energy back up much quicker. If you live in an area with drastic seasonal shifts, i.e. summer, fall, winter, I'm curious if you've noticed differences while practicing semen change, say, semen retention, I think, say summer contrasted to winter. So yeah, there's a definite change in your body that happens between the seasons. Right now I'm in Idaho in the northwestern U.S., so it's pretty cold here in the winter, and so there's a definite shift that happens, versus the summer where it's like fire, maximum stimulation. The winter is more about everything settling down. The energy is being drawn. I just lost my Instagram live. Just a second. That's weird. Okay, I lost my Instagram live, but anyway, so the question was basically what changes from in different seasons. If you're practicing semen retention, how does your sexual energy change? So so there's changes that happen in your body throughout the seasons. In Chinese medicine, they talk about this a lot. Basically, your sexual energy's maximum point in spring and summer, because spring, summer, it's like this rising energy. It's the yang cycle. And then summer solstice, it starts descending back. So fall and winter, autumn and winter are more about this contraction of energy. And your sexual energy, your overall energy reflects this. So you're going to feel a lot more juicy, we say, in the spring and the summer, because everything's rising, everything's blossoming, and your sexual energy responds accordingly. So, the Chinese say you can actually ejaculate more in the spring and summer if you want to versus the fall and winter. You have to really watch your energy in the winter, watch your kidney energy, because that's because the body's trying to protect itself. Everything's contracting, going inward. That's the yin season. So you want to really avoid ejaculation in the winter. Hey, Certified Health Nut, thanks, brother. Love your work as well, man. Doing great work. So so the change I noticed personally is that I'm not as we'll say sexually fiery in the winter. I'm noticing this, whereas like summer, I'm like 24/7, like, let's get it on. Winter's a little more like, I don't need to have sex all the time. So I've definitely noticed a change in that. But you can also take supplements and things like that. Build your kidney energy, do more qigong, have more stillness in your life, and you'll feel juicier in the winter, basically. So yeah, there's a definite change in the summer versus the winter. So just answering questions right now. Okay, what's the benefits of having a teacher to learn these practices? I heard Master Montauk Chia says a lot of people grasp the training better once they attend a workshop. It is valuable to have a teacher who's been there and done this, but at the same time, just understand that not everyone who's teaching this actually knows what they're talking about. I can say that from experience, not saying that you should, never trust anyone, but just, again, just because someone's teaching things doesn't mean they know everything about it. But having said that, I think it's valuable. It's very valuable to study with someone who's been there and done that, because you can read books, you can look at videos on YouTube and things like that. But when you're like in person with someone who's been there and done it, you get that direct transmission. Like the Taoist lineage has been a very like oral transmission, like teacher to student. When you're like in person with them, working with them directly, there's this communication that happens, and it's like a lot of it's like, for example, through speech, it's the ears are related to the kidneys. The kidneys are like the kidney's all about Jing, it's water element, it's embodiment. So when you hear someone's voice, you really receive their energy and are able to embody the teaching. So there's this like, vibration, that transfer of energy. So I'm kind of going on a tangent with this, but basically the greatest shifts I had in my practice was when I actually started studying with teachers. I read a lot of books and did the practices and, got some results, but then I kind of went on a mission to like study with as many teachers as I can, learn all these different traditions. And my practice just really blew up from that, basically. So I highly recommend finding a skilled teacher. Should we wait 30 days or more before we can do the big draw? So the big draw is a practice where basically you draw the sexual energy out of the genitals, upward in the body, moving the arousal upward. No, you don't have to wait 30 days to do this. You can do this anytime at all. So yeah. Oysters are a good source of zinc, magnesium too, I think. Yeah, oysters are good. You just have to be a little careful these days about what comes out of the ocean. It's a very toxic place these days, unfortunately. But yeah, oysters are very high in zinc. Does your course require advanced yoga poses? I'm recovering from a knee injury. No, I don't teach a lot of yoga in my course. There's plenty of yoga out there, so I just don't really specialize in that because so many people are teaching it. I do have a yoga for sexual health on the bonuses, but the course is more focused around qigong exercises, which are very gentle. If you have a knee injury, you'll be fine with that. And meditation and breath work. So it's pretty gentle exercises physically, nothing like crazy. So if you have a knee injury, you should be fine. And you might find it actually helps you recover because, again, qigong opens up the energy channels of your body, gets the energy flowing, and accelerates healing. Would you recommend doing semen retention even if you haven't had sex in months? Yes. Because I'm not sure like what the context of your question is, like you haven't had sex, so you're not ejaculating, but you're asking if semen retention, if you should do it and you haven't had sex in months. So yes, when a man masturbates and ejaculates, he loses a lot more energy than he would by having sex with a partner and ejaculating because there's no exchange of energy. You're just downward flow of energy just dumping out of your body. So yes, single men should definitely practice semen retention to build up their energy, and then you become more attractive, you become more confident and magnetic, and you're able to attract others. Okay, here's a good question. For premature ejaculation, did you notice solo cultivation made a difference when you finally met someone, or was it like starting all over again because it was someone new? Solo cultivation, working with my own sexual energy and training in that, tremendously helped me in my sexual game, we'll say, because in the past I wasn't able to last very long during sex, and then I started learning sexual kung fu, and I was practicing every day, really getting the stuff down. And I was single for quite a long period of time because I just really wanted to develop my energy, get skilled at practices, learn to manage my own energy before I started commingling it with other people. And then when I did find a partner and started, connecting sexually, it was like I was like on it, because it was like, oh, well, I know how to do this. I know how to control this energy. So yes, it was tremendously beneficial for me to learn to control my ejaculation. Of course, there was a few more things I had to learn about partner dynamics, but overall, that's why I emphasize the importance of training with yourself first, getting to know your own energy, because it helps you so much more. Ross. Ross says Jonathan is right. Ross took my course. He was in the group last spring, I believe. But he says Jonathan is right. I had an above the knee amputation, took his course, and attracted 18-year-old women. I'm 61. So he's a testimonial to the power of this work, and the testimonial to the point I'm making, that semen retention increases your confidence. So yeah, Ross was in a wheelchair, but he was doing all my practices, following on the course. He was on every call. He was just crushing it. And so there you go. Whatever physical state you're in, you will benefit from these practices. So thanks, Ross. Hope everything's going well for you, brother. Glad you're attracting those 18-year-olds. What diet supplements do you recommend during semen retention? So it depends what your goals are. It depends what your body type is. It depends what is not in balance in your body, basically. There's no single diet or supplement that everyone should take. That's my belief. I don't believe the one size fits all diet approach. I've tried vegan diet. It did not work for me. My sex drive tanked. I've never felt that any other time in my life. Excuse me. I tried keto, and it was, I need a little bit of carbs. I need a little bit of fruit, I've found. But overall, yeah, I don't believe in a one size fits all diet. I think in general, obviously you should eat organic, avoid GMOs, avoid processed sugar, alcohol. I don't touch these things. As far as supplements, if you're trying to build sexual energy, generally that's what people are asking about. I recommend a good Chinese formula, a kidney yin tonifying formula. Usually has things like Hisho Wu, Rehmannia, rhodiola. These are good kidney builders. Shilajit is something I highly recommend. Pine pollen. What else do I take? Goji berries, maca root. Yeah, these are some great supplements for building sexual energy. Versus someone who has too much sexual energy and they're trying to cut it down, you would not want to take all these things because it'll just push it up even higher. So again, there's no one size fits all approach. This is kind of the idea of herbalism. All right, just answering questions. Let's see. Speaking of the seasons and energy, I hear when trying for a kid, it's best to conceive around the vernal equinox. I mean, I've heard different things about it. Depends, the whole idea, theories of astrology and things, and what kind of energies you want your child to have. I'm sure it depends what type of child you're trying to conceive. I'm not the best person to ask about that. Thoughts on maca powder? I think it's great. I take it frequently. It boosts sperm production. It's a gene tonic. It's a really good supplement, in my opinion. You can overdo it though. I've taken too much, kind of overheated, had too much energy, too much rising yang, and got into my head and I can't sleep. So, be mindful of that as well with taking maca. My urologist recommendation is to ejaculate minimum 3 times a week because of prostatitis, or is it better to follow their advice or follow your ideology? I'm not a medical doctor. I can't give you medical advice, So I will say that I'm not convinced by the research that's been done on the connection between frequent ejaculation decreasing the possibility of cancer. But again, I'm not a medical doctor. I will say that 50% of men have prostate problems at some point in their life. So it's good to keep your prostate healthy. Take saw palmetto, take pygium, and massage your prostate with a tennis ball. You can sit on a tennis ball, put it under the soft part of the perineum. It'll give you an acupressure massage on the prostate. So, But like I said, I'm not a medical doctor. I can't give you medical advice. So follow your doctor's advice if you trust them. For retention practice, what's a good exercise to get started? Microcosmic Orbit. I have a video of this on my YouTube channel. This is the prime pathway, energy pathway in the body, up the back of the body, down the front. It gives you a pathway to circulate your energy in as it builds up, because this is the problem a lot of men run into is they're practicing retention, building up all this energy, but there's nowhere for it to go. So they just get really frustrated and feel really stagnant in their genitals, and they're kind of a ticking time bomb, we could say. So by practicing the microcosmic orbit, you create space in the body to move the sexual energy through. So it's not just building up here in your genitals, it's dissipating throughout the body. And you can learn testicle breathing and start directly moving that sexual energy throughout your body. So these are skills everyone practicing semen retention should do, in my opinion. Can you heal yourself once you learn to harness the energy? Yeah, I mean, Qigong is a healing practice where there's the root of disease of, all these diseases we have. Typically it's revolved around stress and negative emotions, patterns of chronic tension in the body, which are often due to emotions and traumas and things like that. And it just means your energy's, your flow is blocked. You're holding tension in your body. Things aren't moving. So when you do some sort of energetic practice to open the channels back up, increasing your circulation of life force, then you have the resources to, the floodgates are back open. The blood gets back in there. The nutrients get back in there. So yeah, when you learn these energetic practices, your health increases tremendously. That's been my experience. How can I make my skin glow like yours? I don't know. I eat healthy. I practice semen retention, and I don't use any toxic products. And drink plenty of water. Do you teach partner dynamics in the course? So in my 6-week course, yes, there is a section. 6 week is all about partner application. So learning to exchange energy with your partner, learning to control your ejaculation during sex, learning to have these resonance orgasms together. I teach tantric practices for deep connection, opening this heart connection between you and exchanging energy together. So yes, I do teach the partner dynamics. Do you lose your benefits when you edge? I just did a video about this actually on YouTube. Check it out. Basically, it depends how you're edging. You can either, a lot of guys do edging where they're just masturbating and not ejaculating, and they just build up all this pressure, and it's not really a pleasant thing, versus you're stimulating yourself, but you're circulating throughout your body, moving that through the orbit, moving it and collecting in your belly. And so you're generating this energy, and then you're harvesting, you're moving out of the genitals. And this trains you to have full body orgasms and control your ejaculation, basically. So that can be a beneficial way to edge. All right, I'm just gonna answer a few more questions. Can you learn ejaculation control during masturbation? Yes, that's actually a great way to learn ejaculation control, because you get to know your own body before you jump in with someone else with all the added excitement and stimulation. Would you prefer celibacy and semen retention at the same time? I don't prefer celibacy. It depends what your goal is, depends what you're trying to accomplish. But celibacy, I had a period of almost 2 years where I was basically celibate. So it can be good in periods just to kind of remove external influences from your life and just get to know yourself, get to know your own sexual energy, build up your energy, and so that you get clear, because when we're constantly involved with other people, it gets difficult to discern what energy is coming from you, what's coming from them. So when you do have a period of, celibacy, it can help you. If you're running into toxic patterns over and over, then celibacy can really help you to, cut out external influences, do some self-work, and see why you're attracting things you're attracting, get yourself clear, and then attract your ideal partner. So, but as long-term celibacy is not my thing. We were designed to be connected to others. Best way to naturally increase your testosterone level: practice semen retention. Boost your testosterone. Rasa. Sometimes I practice the healing sounds before seeing my doctor. It's extremely helpful. Yeah, Rasa's in my course, and I teach the healing sounds in my course, which is a practice for removing negative emotions and toxic energy from the body. Semen retention has nothing to do with how your skin looks. I disagree because there's all these I was talking earlier in this live, may not have been here, but all these hormonal changes happen when you're practicing semen retention, and hormonal balance is one of the keys to having healthy skin, having enough nutrients, having enough resources in your body. And so semen retention can help you to have healthier skin. That's some of the things people notice is like they've been chronically ejaculating. They often look like the life's been sucked out of them. Their faces look really ghostly, and then they stop ejaculating all the time, and all of a sudden they have life. They look younger and healthier. So it can help your skin look healthier. Okay, after sex, how do I know for sure I didn't release ejaculation into my bladder? Good question. So, a common misconception in the teaching of male non-ejaculatory orgasms is like, oh, you just squeeze the muscle as hard as you can when you're going to the point of ejaculation, and you'll have a dry ejaculation. But what I found is like a high percentage of the times men are just having retrograde ejaculation, which gives you the misconception that you are having a true non-ejaculatory orgasm. Slow down. Retrograde ejaculation is where the semen goes into the bladder and then you urinate it out. So you still lose it. And so the way you know is like if you pee afterwards and it's like really, really foamy, there's like floaty things in it, it's your semen, and you know that you've had a retrograde ejaculation. Whereas if you go to pee and it's just normal, it's not full of semen, then you haven't ejaculated. But sometimes, small amounts when you're practicing semen retention, especially when your PC muscle is really tight, if you're squeezing a lot, that tends to cause little releases of semen, and that can go into your bladder. So you may have like a little bit of semen that you urine out afterwards. So, there's a lot of factors to it. All right, maybe one or two more questions before I jump off. How to get the sex drive back while you're worrying about so much stuff. I'm not sure what you're talking about, what you're worrying about, but sex drive comes from your hormone balance, comes from your energy levels. If you're constantly stressed out, constantly in fight or flight mode, sympathetic nervous system is always activated, then you're not going to have as high of a sex drive. So it's about cutting out stress from your life, having more stillness, having more calmness, having a good physical exercise practice, having a healthy diet. It's going to boost your sexual desire, which is just showing you whether or not you're healthy. Your vitality is manifest in your sex drive. Can the practice of Tai Chi be helpful with the circulation of sexual energy? It depends. I practice Tai Chi myself, and it's an amazing practice, especially when you learn the real internal Tai Chi. 90% of people are teaching Tai Chi is just a physical exercise, with too much tension to actually promote circulation of energy. But when you get the real deal, the real energy circulating Tai Chi, which is like a powerful Neigong form. A Neigong is internal cultivation, internal skill, energy cultivation, basically. It's not directly going to tie to sexual cultivation unless you're like focusing on your sexual energy, focusing on your balls, moving energy from it during your Tai Chi form, which, it's not terribly conducive to that because you have so much to focus on in Tai Chi anyways. But it can promote, body awareness and overall circulation of energy, open up your body to circulate sexual energy. So it can go well hand in hand with it. Like I said, I do Tai Chi every day, but You're not necessarily going to gain skill in sexual energy by doing Tai Chi. It's kind of a more specialized area of, sexual Qigong, sexology. Can you reduce the effects of karma through retention and a stronger aura? Well, I mean, it's not going to undo any karma you've done necessarily, but again, everything's, it's, if you were in patterns of like constantly depleting your energy, looking at porn, masturbating, ejaculating, you'll never have those karmic patterns in your life anymore if you're now retaining your semen, but it's not going to undo everything you've done before. You know what I mean? So hopefully that kind of answers. Stronger aura, it does give you a stronger aura because there's more Jing, which Jing is physical essence, which transforms to Qi. Qi is just general energy, which transforms to Shen, spiritual energy. So you have this massive field of energy that you build practicing semen retention. Are you doing certain breathing while edging? Yes, basically, mindful of your breath, basically circulating the energy upward in the body, having skill working with the microcosmic orbit and other energy pathways to move the arousal in the body. I get into this in my course and teach some basics in some of my YouTube videos as well. All right, guys, thank you for joining me. I'm going to jump off here. Happy New Year. Oh, another announcement I forgot is that I'm teaching an online workshop January 8th. On male sexual mastery. I'm going to be talking about how to overcome premature ejaculation, how to non-ejaculatory orgasms, how to circulate energy through the body, how to practice semen retention as a lifestyle. So check out that online workshop. It's January 8th. You can sign up for free. It's free. There's a link in my Instagram bio, and on YouTube there's a link in my recent video. So check that out. And thanks for joining, guys. Have a good day. Happy 2020.